Welcome in, everybody. I am Dr. Natalie Phillips.
I'm Dr. Hannah Galloway.
And I'm Whitney.
So we have a really cool person for you to meet. But before we get there, and we have a special guest, actually, so we want you guys to be tuning in. But before we get there, I'm going to have Dr. Galloway and Whitney kind of talk a little bit more about our YouTube channel while I share out our show today.
Yes, so we have, I just say 64 subscribers. I feel like that's even more than last week.
More.
Yeah, I feel like last week it was 61, maybe. I can't remember, but every week we do this countdown to make everybody know that we are getting more subscribers, which is cool. I think this is a great way to send out our videos to people that maybe are not on Facebook or Instagram. We spend a lot of time on these excellent thumbnail images. Dr. Phillips is solely responsible for those, but it does make it a little bit more fun and you can tell what the episodes are about. So if we're ever gone, like over the holidays, Thanksgiving is on a Thursday, we will not be here on Thanksgiving. So you can refer to our YouTube channel and you can watch old episodes, maybe around the Thanksgiving dinner table with your whole family.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, it's been fun. So as you know, our show for today is, and we have two watching actually live on YouTube, which is kind of cool. It's called Let's Bling It Up. So I'm super excited for what we have in store for you guys today. Let's remove that. So just a little bit of background before we bring our special guest on here. Couple of questions. How many people, if you're tuning in, how many people, and you can put in the comments, like to decorate? Like, are you guys excited for the holidays and decorating? Have you guys you didn't put up your holiday? Actually, I shouldn't assume. So have either of you put up your holiday decorations?
Next weekend, I'm putting mine up, I think. I'm typically pretty much like wait till after Thanksgiving is done. But I think it's because I'm a November baby. I feel like Thanksgiving should have its time, but I am going to put it up a little bit early.
Fun fact, Dr. Phillips, Whitney, and I's birthdays are all within 1 week of each other. So I was going to say that my birthday is December 3rd. So usually the week after Thanksgiving is like decorate for Christmas week. And that's my birthday week, but it's also your birthday weeks too.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going out of town for Thanksgiving. So we won't do anything until we get back. And then we'll decorate when we get back.
Okay. What about your nails? Like, I know that we all get our nails done. So does anybody put bling on their nails or anything? Right now, I have an ombre look to my nails. What about you guys? Any decorations on your nails?
I don't ever do designs. Mine are like olive green though. And I had a male patient comment on them yesterday that they were army green, which I thought was kind of cool. But sometimes for the holidays, I'll do like some sparkles or something, just to be
wild. I might do some sparkles too. Okay, I like it.
I'm not going to show my nails because they're not done, but I have recently gotten some like cute patterns. I had like flowers a few weeks ago on my nails, so I do like to be a little bit fun with them.
Yeah. Okay, I like a little bit every so often, right? Okay, what about bling on your phones? Okay, my phone case is glittery on the back here. I don't have a lot of like bling bling on it, but I just because we're talking about all things bling today.
Yeah.
I definitely have had more personalization on my phone before. Now I just got a new phone, so it is pretty boring. But my case is fun. It's got this like geode on it. So
okay. So today, the reason why we're talking about this and we're trying to, allow people to kind of come in and get situated here is because today we have a special guest and we're going to be talking about decorating and blinging up your hearing aids. And so I'm excited because before we got on live, I talked to our special guest really quickly. And it's a new company. So I'm super excited to talk about it and introduce it to our colleagues that will be tuning in. But I'm super excited because I saw this company on Instagram and I was so intrigued. So I sent a direct message out to them and got them on our show. And they're all the way from London. So I'm so excited to introduce our guest here. And let me just change it here while we bring him in and welcome Dec. So this is Dec McLaughlin, and he is from London. And the company that we're going to be talking about is called Auzi. So welcome to the show, Dec. Glad to have you with us.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, this is awesome. Already, when I was listening from the green room. My nails painted, unfortunately, for that, but happy to chat about many other bling related topics.
Yeah, I thought it would be kind of fun just to kind of look at what other things we like to decorate. So I'd love for you to introduce yourself to us and to our listeners, our followers, and those who tune in to our show. I know that you have a hearing loss as well. So tell us a little bit more about you and, if you can, the story behind what Auzi is.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you mentioned, I have a hearing loss. So I was born half deaf in both ears. I believe it's moderate bilateral loss, to use the technical term, I suppose. Interestingly, my older brother has the same thing. So we both had that experience growing up. And for many, many years, up until even recently, I only wore one hearing aid. And my parents, of course, and audiologists would rightly remind me that I really need to wear two. And the only reason for it ultimately was I always felt a bit of stigma growing up, even into adulthood. It was funny, I never had any negative experiences with bullying or anything, thankfully. I know a lot of people do, unfortunately. And it was something that I've been very curious about for many years. And one of the things that often I would look at would be people who wore glasses. Obviously, glasses are super mainstream, and obviously many of us wear them, and we know people who do. But it always felt like, at least to me, and maybe it's just my experience, I'd love to hear other people's thoughts on it, glasses were almost allowed to look good. You had many cool brands. Even recently, I've seen many, I think, Burberry glasses adverts, and they look really cool. They have really cool model photo shoots, and there's massive billboards. I was in San Francisco recently, and I saw one, for instance, and it's amazing. I was like, I want glasses, and I don't even need them. And it really, for many years, got me thinking, I can never imagine the same for hearing aids. I could never imagine a cool like Dior or Prada hearing aids billboard or something. Anyway, long story short, I met Daniela, who's my partner and now business partner. So it's a business partner squared, I guess, a few years ago. And recently we were speaking, and I said to her, like I said to Sarah, I can never imagine hearing aids looking cool. And it was about this time last year, we spoke about it, and I said, my birthday's coming up in February. I usually ask for something random. I don't know. Why don't I ask for something a bit more meaningful as a gift? So I asked her, could you make me a hearing aid cover from jewelry? And the context is with Daniela, she's been making jewelry for over a decade. So she's got so much experience with designing jewelry and manufacturing. And typically she'll make jewelry collections with a purpose. So it's funny, actually, I don't know if you can see behind me, I've got an Ikigai like poster on the wall. And the reason that's relevant, and it's going to be relevant later, is something I speak about. But for instance, Daniela has done a recent collection called a Kokoro collection. So she spent a few months in Japan a few years ago, and Kokoro, I think, is related to self-love and acceptance. So that's how she symbolizes that through jewelry. But anyway, I asked her if she could make a jewelry cover for my hearing aid. She went away and said, I think I can, let me have a look. And anyway, fast forward a few months, she made me a really amazing silver jewelry cover for my hearing aid with gemstones. And it looked really cool. I was like, wow, this is awesome. Like, so I wore it for quite a few months, and we were thinking, I wonder if other people may like the same. I wonder if that's something that we could give a try. And I think, like I was saying to you, Natalie, just before the show, we've only officially launched a couple of months ago, so we are super new, but really excited about the response so far.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I don't want to gloss over the fact that you had mentioned, and I don't know if anybody else picked it up, Ikigai. So I love that. I don't know if anybody knows what ikigai is, but it's definitely a Japanese concept about basically how you live life, right? And it's kind of like the diagrams that I've seen is like your purpose and everything kind of overlap, right, to what you have experienced, and then maybe what you're good at, and things like that. And the middle is called ikigai, right? So everything overlaps to what you're launching, which totally makes sense. So I wanted to also bring that up in case people missed that, about the ikigai diagram. That's probably up on your wall behind you, I'm assuming. But that totally makes sense about what you're talking about with what Auzi is. So I do want to pull up your website, and I will here, but I wanted to see if Dr. Galloway or if Whitney had any questions before we kind of pull up your website here.
Well, I have seen people try to bejewel their own hearing aids. We actually, it wasn't us, it was a colleague. Somebody posted that somebody brought in a hearing aid and bejeweled the whole thing. And obviously there's microphone ports that you can't cover up. So that's, I'm interested to just kind of see the design and how you've done those sound ports, because different hearing aids have the ports located different places. But I love the idea, because I like jewelry a lot anyway. And I like to, have like fun, bright colors. And we see a lot of pediatric patients for hearing aids. And I think some of that personalization is what makes it really fun, but also empowers them to like own it. Like, hey, look at this hearing aid. It has all these cool stickers on it or whatever, and it kind of makes it more fun and more of a talking piece for them to be proud of,
Yeah. We had a patient actually yesterday. She has a really fun colored hearing aid. She has a pink hearing aid, and she's an adult. And I just commented, I was like, I love that you chose pink. Like I like that it's not chroma beige or terracotta, like your hair color. And she's like, I feel like if I'm going to wear them, like, why try to hide them? And she's like, honestly, my younger friends have now thought about going to get their hearing checked. And it's, she said it's changing the stigma even in her small friend group. And I think the same thing. If you had a little bit of eyesight, you would probably have no issues wearing glasses. But patients are often like, well, is it enough hearing loss? Do I actually need hearing aids? And so I think if we can kind of change that stigma to, and it can actually be very personal, and, you can fit your aesthetic and things like that. So I'm excited to see this.
Yeah. And I think what caught my eye when I saw your company on Instagram and why I reached out was because back in the day, and all three of you are much younger than me, but back in the day, there was a company that had a gold-plated hearing aid. And Dec, you're nodding your head, so you might know the company I'm talking about. But I do remember it, and it was kind of a joke, but at the same time, like, it was a thing. And so your particular, and you'll see that when I pull up the website, but your particular look caught my eye because it reminded me of that years ago that was out there, but much more basically. So, and I'm not too sure if Whitney or if Hannah had actually seen this, but I'm going to pull up the website now so that we can kind of take a look at this here and see if I can get it a little bit larger here. Yeah. So that's what it looks like. Very cool design. So I think what's interesting is I pulled this up because I will get this off your face, Whitney, I promise.
Oh, that's okay. No one needs to see me.
But what I think what's interesting is, Dec, like this was something that you created. So I know that we had talked about earlier, if you had joined us, we were talking about decorating the house or our nails or our phone. Or if you look at this too, you think, oh, women are the only ones that can bling it up or make it look like this or are interested in this. But Dec, if I'm not mistaken, your ear is actually on your Instagram page, right? And you were the one that wore something like this. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a really good point. We even were speaking to quite a few guys recently about it. And it's funny because obviously for me, I'm the one who wears the hearing aids, and the idea came from a personal need and everything. So yeah, I had I think it was the same design on my hearing aids, and doing a bit of modeling. I'm sure you can find there's better models you're going to find, obviously, than me certainly. But it's something that's interesting because I think we found, obviously it's not to generalize, of course, but more women have been interested initially, which I think makes sense overall in terms of overall trends. But we are still keen to cater to guys as well. So for me, I've got a couple of covers coming for my new hearing aids. So one thing for me that happened was, so this design you see on the website was for my old hearing aids. So I had, if I can tell you the models, I've got it right in front of me.
Yeah, and if there's something that you want me to pull up to on your website, but I'm just going to kind of scroll while you're talking.
Yeah, perfect. In fact, I'll tell you how old my hearing aid was. It's so old that the branding is wiped off, so I can't even read it. But that was the one that we modeled it on. You'll recognize that from the shapes on the website. Yep. And ironically, so what happened was we made the cover, and actually I've got it here. So you'll see the real life version on the webcam. It's obviously much smaller than the website, just to give you an idea. So as soon as we finished it, pretty much, I went into my local audiology clinic and they said, "You've not been in for many years. You could probably do it for a new hearing aid." And I said, "You're right, I could." So ironically, I got a new one. And obviously what it means is the case doesn't fit. So I've got, I don't know if you guys have Dana Logic, any of the Dana Logic ones. I don't know if they're more European or not. But anyway, long story short, I'm having a couple of covers arriving very soon for me. So obviously I'm keen to obviously wear them, of course, and use that as a kind of way to say to other guys who might wear hearing aids, you know, you can bling them up too. And there's quite a few jewelry brands, at least in the UK and Europe, who really cater to guys. I think it's something that's on the up in terms of trend. So to your point, you know, we are keen to show that message off as well. And this one you see spinning around is what I'm going to get. So, so speaking of Japanese symbolism and meaning, I don't know, Natalie, you might recognize this already.
Yeah,
and in fact,
it looks like kintsugi to me.
Yes, absolutely. So this is what I think we'll call kintsugi collection or similar. So yeah, absolutely. So Daniela and I, sorry, there's lots of props to show in the webcam today. So this is a kintsugi bowl we did maybe a couple of years ago. And the more we thought about it, the more we realized that, at least for kintsugi specifically, a lot of the symbolism is quite similar to the mission we're trying to achieve, which is to say that, of course, you know, things may have cracks in them or what we may see as imperfections. And the tendency may be to try and hide things and maybe show everyone as perfect, etc. But really what we want to do with Auzi is to say, hey, you know, I have a hearing loss, I wear hearing aids, and actually it's something I even want to show off. You know, we really see it as potentially being almost a gold in the cracks, which says, hey, you know, I can't hear perfectly, but actually that's okay. You know, that's a part of who I am, and it's not something to be ashamed of, if anything, the opposite. So I'll be rocking a cool set of these very, very soon. I'm literally, you know, when you order something and it's coming and you're like, oh, the doorbell goes and you think, oh my God, yes, it's here, and it's not, and you're always going to be excited. So that's where I'm at the moment, but it should be coming very, very soon.
Yeah, I love that. So I love this because it's spinning, so we can kind of talk about it. And that talks about those microphone ports opening that you see, Hannah.
Yes.
But I also love the jewelry clasp on the other side, right? Because people are wondering, like, how, what you just snap it on, or what, well, how do we do this, right? And so I love leaving this up because people can, as people are kind of scrolling through Facebook right now, looking at it, they'll see something moving, you know, and they'll kind of maybe tune in to what we're talking about. So that kind of answers some of the questions. I love the kintsugi. So Hannah, I actually ran a workshop and it was called Unbreakable. And so it was a women workshop where I don't even know how many people we had, like maybe 60 or 70 women, and we all had vases and we did kintsugi. It was a kintsugi workshop. And I have to say, I'm Chinese, so I'm hoping that I'm making the Asian American people that are watching this very proud, because I'm not even Japanese, but I love how everything is kind of aligning with your ikigai, and then also the kintsugi. part of this story behind the design of this particular cover. So I guess then my next question is, as it's spinning around, like, what is that material made of that is going to be the cover that covers that hearing aid?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a few options for people. And I'm going to do my best not to get any jewelry technicalities wrong. Danny will tell me on later, but I think I can certainly speak to this. So this one you see will be gold-plated silver. So I think what's really good about it is obviously it's got that gold appearance, the really bling, of course, topic of this episode as well. But it's a bit cheaper than it might be. But what we have said to people is, hey, if you'd like to go for, proper 18 karat or 24 karat gold, you obviously can. But in short, we've got really good quality metal covers. And I think the thing we say to people as well is, we want to make covers that are very, very long lasting and durable. So from Danny's experience, he said to me that these metals or this style, tends to be really obviously high quality and long lasting. Because of course with hearing aids, hopefully most people will be wearing them every day, if not very, very regularly. So we want something that's long lasting. And it's funny, actually, we've had a few nice comments recently from people who have said, well, if you think about it, obviously it's similar to a phone case in terms of principle. And that's a good link actually back to the microphone question, which I'd love to speak to in a second. But actually, if maybe you drop a hearing aid or something, it's almost an extra layer. I'm sure we've all dropped our phones and cracked our phones and stuff like that. So it's a metal cover. And then in terms of gemstones, you've got such a wide range of options. So for this one, I think they may be, I forget the name of it. Tourmaline, I think. No, synthetic moissanite. Sorry, excuse me. Which gives the appearance of diamonds without the cost, essentially. So obviously really quite blingy, really out there and really quite bright and shiny. But we can do anything from, could be potentially even rubies and sapphires if you wanted to go high end, and even diamond if somebody was really keen to, go for something super luxury. But yeah, in short, really focus on like high quality materials. You want it to be something super long lasting. And yeah, in terms of the microphone question, I think Hannah, you'd asked earlier. So yeah, it's something we give a lot of attention to. Obviously one of the things that comes up a lot when we speak to clinics, and we've spoken to many over the last couple of months who've been really interested and starting to look at partnerships, is obviously the hearing experience and making sure there's no impact at all. So we do a lot of work on, whenever we make a new type of hearing aid model, going out and making sure we can test it. So that could be potentially with clinics directly. Obviously, there are a couple of other people I'm aware of who do hearing aid testing. So I've reached out actually to one or two who I think would be interesting, because we love to do that work. But I guess the way that we've explained it and approached it is similar to a phone case. So I'm sure you'll have the same with yours. So mine, for instance, again, something else to show to camera. I've got gaps with the microphone here. And even actually from a button perspective, making sure you've got the gaps for the buttons, or the buttons are obviously easily accessible as they would be without a cover. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. I mean, that's how we've explained it to most people. So.
Yeah, it totally does. And I just wanted to say too, for people tuning in, or if you're sharing this out later as well, like, don't think of this as like, oh, it's only for certain patients, right? Or it's like a niche, right? Or something like that. Because, as you don't know what your patients want. And so this is just, hopefully this is kind of very informational for people. So that way, if you're watching and you're a consumer, you're like, hey, I didn't even know we could do that. Like, I would totally do that. Like, I'm thinking all kinds of things that people do, especially because you described it kind of as a phone case. But like, I'm thinking NFL colors, or, your favorite sports team with the bling, or whatever it is, right? You could do. But I think that we all just want to make sure that people know about it, because you're so new. And then also, like, now, as a provider, pull it up on your computer when you have your patient in front of you and say, hey, guess what? Like, there's this really cool new thing that's out there now. I don't know if you'd be interested or not, but it's out there, and just, it's another option for patients, right? And with good practices and providers, it's always giving your information as much, your patient as much information as possible and letting them decide. So I think it's really, really kind of cool. Whitney or Dr. Galloway?
I wish I had hearing aids. I would do this. I think it's cool. I love too if you have like earrings, how you're kind of like even kind of tying it. Oh yeah, more colors.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh, I love the mixed, the like bottom one with like the different.
Yeah, I like this whole entire thing here.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes, patients will ask us about colors or stickers or like whatever. And so this is, definitely something to bring up to those patients. Have you guys tried it with any rechargeable hearing aid models? Like because it's metal. That's the one thing that I was thinking of is that a lot of the chargers have magnets in them and stuff. Do you just take it off to charge it, or is there a way to charge with it on?
Yeah, so this is actually a perfect example. So this one in the top left is based off a Widex Moment Shear.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys stock any of those ones, but rechargeable anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we made this for a lady in London. Finished it a few weeks ago. And yeah, so that's come off a lot. The short answer is people would need to take it off when you recharge.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's something we considered. I know it's like an extra thing to remember to do and everything. Because we had a look, and I guess the thing that we've seen for quite a few of the rechargeable aids is they go quite far into the charger.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost what's the word, like one or the other. Like either you could have it recharging, but it probably wouldn't be able to cover much of the hearing aid, and obviously vice versa. So but it's something we're mindful of. I mean, Danielle and I are speaking quite a lot just around how we can be creative around that. Could you have technically half of it that's not in the charger? But for now, people can take off and on. And I mean, I think what's quite good, and coming back to the point about the clasp at the bottom earlier, is we designed that deliberately to be really easy to put off and on. And the good thing as well is because we based the designs perfectly on that exact hearing aid model, it will fit perfectly. So when you're putting it off and on, you don't have to fiddle around, and it's not too fiddly at all. So yeah.
Cool.
And I like that you also have an option, and like what this says, uniquely yours, right? Like that you can actually create what you want. And so you can work with your company to make sure that it's not just something that, like, I could go to the shop button right now here and kind of see what types of options there are, but you can actually make it how you want it, right? So I love that.
Absolutely. Yeah, we thought that was super important. We wanted people to be able to tell their own stories if they wanted to. It's funny, actually, recently we've had a few people who actually just quite like the existing ones. So that's obviously good. So these are a few of the pre-made. And yeah, I think it's certainly for me, obviously I mentioned the kintsugi ones, for instance. That's something for me that really resonates, that storytelling piece and the meaning behind it. And yeah, to your point about like the NFL teams and other people's passions, yeah, that's definitely possible. We found a really cool way to have, how do I describe it? Obviously the metal cover in many different colors. I wish I had something to show you. I can maybe send something later on. Because we were actually, funnily enough, we were speaking to a clinic in the UK who has a really cool, like, kind of, how do I describe the color of the brand? It's almost like it's a blue color. It's like I'm very bad at describing color painting, but anyway, it's like a blue color brand. And he was saying, could you do something that I could have as like my clinic brand? And we went away and we looked at it, and we can. So if you had an NFL team, maybe it's, I don't know, Seahawks. I don't want to get the wrong name.
Good job.
What about Safe Watching? You absolutely could. So that's something that we're always keen to speak about. And I think the other thing is, we want to make it a really nice experience. So whenever someone inquires, obviously does their own one with us, we do a lot of work to really take them on that journey with us through the making process and really feel like they're a core part of it. And, you know, we'll send designs, they can sketch a design on the notebook and we can send back how it looks 3D. That's something that's actually been quite enjoyable for us as well.
Wow.
Cool.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I love all the different designs. I like the little stars and that you've got different metals and things. So I think that somebody could get really go overboard with this. Like, I hope one of our patients will be one of them.
I know, me too. Which kind of brings me to, you know, how do, obviously, you know, it's direct to consumer, right? And so somebody could just come on here, order, work with you, whatever they want to do. But how, let's talk about, because that's easy, because I just pulled up the website. We will have your website in our show link. But how about audiologists? What would be a great way to have an audiologist kind of connect with you if there's something that they want to work on with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, so it's good timing because, like I was saying, I've obviously referenced that clinic in the UK. It's something we'd love to do more of. So actually, it's something that we've already set up as a partnership model. So actually, what we've said to quite a few clinics is, hey, like, you know, obviously you're constantly having people come in and choosing hearing aids and already going through that careful process of having a hearing aid and choosing and obviously making sure it's one they're comfortable with. And what really triggered it in terms of speaking to many more clinics was it was that same clinic owner I was speaking to said, and I'm sure you maybe have the same phrase and maybe use it, the best hearing aid is the one you actually wear. And that really, I was like, yes, I really resonate. So the short answer is, yeah, there's a couple of models. One of them is a profit share. So actually for the clinic, almost like you mentioned, Natalie, you know, if somebody's in already, maybe they're testing and choosing, if Auzi comes up organically in the conversation and they're keen to refer it, we can do something there, profit share. So obviously get like a nice percentage of a sale. We could also do wholesale type thing. So give you a few for, you know, a really good price. And if you'd like to, you can, you know, sell them on, at, you know, more to, again, maybe a kind of revenue thing. Even open to exclusive collections. So if you want to be really creative, almost like to craft your own thing, but for clinics. So that could be like a nice, unique thing that you can go out to the world and say, hey, we're the only clinic that has this type of Aussie cover, super cool and exclusive type thing. And on top of that, of course, open to other ideas and suggestions. But yeah, we'd super love to work with many clinics. Like, we really know you guys do super important work and everything. And I think for us, at the end of the day, you know, we want people to feel more drawn to wearing hearing aids if they need it. You know, that's the mission ultimately. I've seen a few statistics, and feel free to fact correct any of this or fact check it if you think it's not right. But there seems to be a few sources that suggest the number of people who need hearing aids and actually wear them is really low, maybe 20%. And I remember reading that a few times thinking that's incredible. You know, like, I don't know if you guys think that's accurate or not, anecdotally or from research, but that doesn't seem right. I couldn't imagine that for glasses. So, you know, we'd love to make sure that people feel empowered to take that first step and a bit less daunting and you know, less stigmatized and ashamed of it. So
yeah, no, I would agree. That's the statistic that I have that we've all have heard as well. So I think that's what's really cool is, as an entrepreneur, you know, you found this, you had a problem and you found the solution and created something. So thank you for that, first of all. And we're just really thankful that we got to feature you and meet you and kind of introduce you to other audiologists that might be interested in presenting this to their patients as well. Or now that we've got you to talk about it, that it's going to be easy to share it out. So if you liked what you heard or saw here, reach out to them, you know, contact them. We have the website here as well as in the comments. I put it in the comments, so it's a clickable link that you can go straight to Auzi. You know, before we go, explain to us what, I know that you did initially when we first jumped on, but where did you get the name Auzi and what does it mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a couple of other stories to add to the one I said to you, Natalie, actually. So it's many things. So the main one is Daniela, so that's my partner I've been mentioning, who's the jewelry expert and designer. So she's from Romania in Eastern Europe. And in Romanian, it's actually pronounced Auzi, same spelling. So Auzi, it means to hear in Romanian. And there's a lot of Latin roots to the language. So you'll recognize AU. Obviously, that's got a nice connection to audiology, audio, etc. The other one to mention, which wasn't really deliberate, but still a nice connection. So we both met at university in Edinburgh, Scotland. So she was studying jewelry design and silversmithing. I was studying chemistry. I'm sure many listeners and you might know the chemical symbols, and the chemical symbol for gold is AU. So that's also perfect. So obviously that's a nice link to what we do and bling and everything. And I guess overall, even outside of those connections, it's a nice short word. We wanted it to sound very, very cool, for lack of a better description, like Gucci or Fendi, very like rolls off the tongue well. So and yeah, the domain name seemed okay. I think someone has Auzi.com in Australia, like an insurance company, so that's fair enough. But we've pushed it up.
Very cool.
Yeah, well, you do what you do, right? I mean, you can grab what you can get as a website or a domain, but I think you guys did really well. I love all the meaning behind everything that you like. I got chills when you were explaining the connection that had you met at the university, things like that. And so a lot of real depth to your company. And so thank you again for spending time with us and really introducing us to Auzi and how what we can do to give it to our patients or to some of our colleagues so that they can also be aware of what you're doing. Dr. Galloway or Whitney, have any last thoughts?
Thanks for sharing.
I'm excited to see where you guys go and new designs that you come out with and all of that. So hopefully we can have you back on in a while and we can follow up or something. That would be fun.
I love that. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you for your time. And you can hang on just for a second. But guys, share this out if you enjoyed what you saw. It'll be on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and also on Instagram very shortly. So feel free to share this out to people who might be interested in blinging up their devices. So with that, we will be here next week. We'll see you then.
Bye. Thank you.